Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Average Discussion. This is going to be the lunch break episode. Okay, so I am doing this again from the comforts of my office. That is super loud and obnoxious and annoying. But you know what? I listened to it yesterday, and honestly, I think the biggest problem was I was probably a little too close to my microphone. So you can hear the stuff in the background, but it shouldn't be all that bad. So, what are we going to get into? So I think today I want to start out with a little story. So the other day, right, let me just backtrack a little bit, right? So for those of you who don't know, I've got a 16-year-old son. And I don't think I don't think I reflect on the funny shit that he does that's borderline annoying, right? And anyway, so the other day I get this email from the school, right? And it says that he was late to one of his classes, and that class happened to be the first period of the day for him, right? And what was strange was that his brother, who's 14, right? So my oldest is a junior, my 14-year-old is a freshman, right? They go to school together. My oldest gives him a ride to school, right? So they in theory should be at the school at the same time. Well, my oldest is late to his class, but my 14-year-old wasn't marked late. So I asked him about this. I'm like, hey man, what happened? Like, were you just dicking around in the halls? What's going on? And he immediately gets super defensive, right? He's like, I wasn't gonna have enough gas to get home. Okay, calm down, dude. But he goes, yeah, so I went to the school, I dropped my brother off, and then I went to the gas station and got gas, and then I went back to school because I wasn't gonna have enough gas to get home. So let me get this straight. You went to the school where you could have just stayed because you wouldn't have been using any gas. You had enough gas to get from the school to the gas station, but you were concerned you wouldn't have enough gas to get home from school. Fair point. But you went from the school to the gas station because you didn't have enough gas to get home, just to then go back to the same school you were already at. So you really could have just went to the school, gone to school, and then after school got gas and went home. Not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, right? But it's funny, like the logic in his head. Like, I didn't have enough gas to get home, so I had to hurry up and go get this done. I think there's more to it, personally. But, hey, taking him on what his story is, absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It cracks me up. He does a lot of randomly funny things like that sometimes. And it just brightens my day sometimes to really just kind of reflect on it and think about it. But yeah, definitely strange. Not something that, I don't know. I guess like when I was having kids or whatever, right? Like I assumed that it would get to this stage, you know what I mean? But I didn't think that, I guess I just didn't really think how much I would value it. And appreciate it because it's absolutely hilarious. And I find myself a lot of times really just wondering, was I like that? Because I like to think I wasn't. I like to think that my life was a lot different than my kids' life. And I like to think that I had a little bit more slickness about me. But I don't know that I actually did. I think I was probably just as idiotic, and I don't know. Funny story. It's definitely cool, being a dad. I was on the socials yesterday because I did the podcast yesterday, and I wanted to edit the video and do like little clips or whatever to kind of like encourage people to go and check it out, right? And long story short, I did edit the video a little bit. I got all of it prepped, but I'd kind of made a bad husband move and completely spaced the fact that my wife's aunt was in town and that we were we had planned to go meet with them last night and had dinner and just kind of catch up and all that, right? completely spaced it, completely forgot all about it. So there I am, I'm sitting at the house, and I leave work and I go home and I'm just kind of hanging out, and I put on my sweatpants, I get all comfy, and my wife comes out on break and she goes, are you coming with me tonight? Yeah, of course I am. So, it was funny. But long story short, I was planning on doing that, editing the video and trying to find good parts of the conversation that I can make go like bam, like a come check out my podcast thing. You know what I mean? And I just never really got to it. But damn, I don't even remember where I was going with this conversation. This is the problem with my head right now. Gone. It's gone. The entire thought process is gone. But yeah, that just happened. I suppose this is why people say, like, jot down your notes, script it out, do all this stuff. But the problem is if you look at the show from yesterday in particular, I can't read. Okay? I can't read. Even when I write it down, I can't read it. So I don't know. I think just having fun with it and spitballing is kind of a better time. But this is my lunch break episode. I try to do these periodically. I mean, to be completely fair and honest, I do try to be more proactive about it, more consistent about it, because it is one of the things that's a little bit easier to do. Because I generally only need like a half hour or so. And sorry, I'm gonna take a drink. Throat's really dry. Like I said yesterday, I was about a week ago. I was sick, and I haven't got rid of all the crap yet. My throat's still scratching, voice has changed a little bit. Just whatever. But anyways, like the lunch break thing is a little bit easier because I generally only need like a half hour or so, and I just kind of go through some topics and conversations. And I usually focus it on news stuff. The problem with that is like I'm looking at right now. I mean, I got Fox News pulled up on my computer here, and everything's fucking political. Political or murder. That really seems to all that they want to put up there, right? And, so it can get a little frustrating and get a little tiresome sometimes because, that's not all I want to talk about, and I'm interested to know what's going on in the world, but there's so much more going on in the world than just politics, and finding articles that aren't, related to politics and things like that it's troublesome, you know what I mean? Because it's hard to find them. I don't know. Or it's just stuff like this, like Yankees Mets alleged truce in Aaron Judge bidding war reportedly prompts investigation. I don't fucking care about that. Who cares about that? If you care about it, you're probably watching ESPN. You're not watching Average Discussion. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe you are watching Average Discussion. I was talking to my buddy last night. He gave me a call, and we were just kind of talking about some stuff. And, I was telling him how, like, when I started doing this, I had this ambition to kind of do, like, two separate little forum things, right? Like, do the Average Discussion stuff where I talk about things that I'm interested in and stuff like that, right? But then I also, because I am also into sports, do a sports part of it, right? And what I found was that I can't say sports. It would have to just be sport, singular, because I don't pay enough attention to other sports to, give any kind of credible information. I mean, even basketball, like, I love basketball, man. I love playing it, but I don't follow it like I used to by any means. Not even. NFL football is probably the one thing that I really am pretty well versed in. College, I'm trying. I've tried. There's way too many games for me to keep up with to give like honest feedback on. You know what I mean? Like I could watch one game and I could give you honest feedback about that game, but the entirety of it in itself, I'm not that committed. I'm just not. So I find that kind of stuff difficult. But I was telling him about that, and because I think we were talking about like where you can find the podcast or whatever. And he was looking at it, and there was like two separate categories, and I was like, yeah, it might just be leftover from, when I was going to try to do that. Strange. But, anyways, lunch break stuff, looks like Lakers trading LeBron James may put team back into contention. That's pretty interesting. This is on Fox News, by the way. We talked about that too. We talked about LeBron James. Interesting that I see that today after we talked about that. Let's see. Air Force to end basic training Beast Week in favor of 36-hour field training. I don't know what Beast Week is in the Air Force, but yeah, good for them. Man, the news is just full of the same repetitive stuff, and it sucks because, like, if you go to Fox News, right, you're gonna see one style of stuff in particular. Then you go to CNN, you're gonna see another side. Like, generally, I'm more of a fan of, like, the BBC News or whatever in the UK, because I feel like they're more prone to give worldly events. But it's still the same damn thing, though. It's just with a little bit more of the world spectrum, but it's still the same crap. It's politics, it's war, it's murder, it's closely breaking news according to BBC News. Pelosi to stand down as U.S. House Democrat leader. There you go. There's that. What awaits Brittany Griner in Russian penal colony? Penal colony. I don't know a whole lot about that, but that situation, I think they're trying to play American society politics, and they're playing it with the wrong people. Because if there's anybody I think that's not going to give two shits about how Americans feel right now, it's probably going to be somebody in Russia. So I think the people are probably causing that poor girl more harm by trying to fight this stuff as much as they are, because they're just going to be anti anything we want. And so I think that there's a good chance that they're hurting that poor girl more than they're helping. Definitely feel that way. Let's see what we got for the world stuff in the BBC News. 3 guilty of drowning airline over Ukraine. Or downing. Sorry. See, I told you I can't fucking read. Right? 3 guilty of downing airline over Ukraine. Let's look this up, because this is interesting to me. MH17, 3 guilty as court finds Russia-controlled group downed an airline. Dutch court has found... Oh, stupid ads. The Dutch court has found 3 men guilty of murder for shooting down a passenger jet over eastern Ukraine in 2014, killing 298 people. The court found that a Russian-made missile supplied from Russia and fired by an armed group under Russian control brought down flight MH17. The men, 2 Russians and 1 Ukrainian, plot twist, were found guilty in absentia and sentenced to life in jail. A 3rd Russian was acquitted. The missile attack was one of the most notorious war crimes in Ukraine before allegations of atrocities there became an almost daily reality. Many of the victims' relatives believed that the world had, if the world had reacted differently and taken a tougher stance against Russia 8 years ago, the invasion of Ukraine and the geopolitical instability that has followed could have been avoided. Listen, I'm sorry that these people died. I don't know that I am sorry, actually. Like, it sucks that these people died, but I have nothing to be sorry for. So I feel sorrow for them that their family members died. That's probably a better way of putting it, right? But here's the thing that I find, because I saw this thing yesterday too about how there was like a missile that was fired and struck somewhere in Poland or something like that, right? And of course, immediately it was like, oh, Russia did this, right? And maybe that's true, maybe they did. I don't know. Sorry, I'm working too. Seeing stuff. But maybe they did. But here's the thing, right? I don't think we Americans need to waste our time investigating this. Poland does, because it happened to them, right? And I don't need to hear what our U.S. intelligence says happened. I don't need to hear what the UK intelligence says happened. I don't need to hear what India said fucking happened, or Pakistan, or China, or Korea. I don't fucking care. It's Poland's choice, right? They investigate, they look into it, they make their determination, and then they act in response how they deem appropriate. That's, in my opinion, that's probably how we avoid a lot of conflicts, by just staying in there. You see, if you go out in the parking lot, there's two yellow lines. Maybe they're white, depending on where you're at, right? But most likely they're probably yellow. Well, those are called lanes, parking lanes, stalls, whatever, right? But I'm going to call them, for the purpose of this metaphor, lanes. Now, you see those lanes over there? That one's yours. Stay in it. Like, it's that simple, right? Like, so this type of stuff encourages us to be in everybody's business, right? Like, I feel that if the world would have taken a tougher stance on Russia, it wasn't our place. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that you don't want. You can't go around saying you don't want, like, American intervention and then say if the world would have took a tougher stance, right? I don't know. Call me crazy. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Let's see what else we can find. Boy, a 9-year-old boy shot dead by Iranian security forces. That's hunger strike affected jailed UK Egyptian family. Republicans win House control with narrow majority. Let's see. Chili sauce businesses feel the heat of Ghana's crash. But the breaking news article was Pelosi. That's cool. Let's see. Let's pull up CNN. Let's see what we got on CNN. How you guys doing today, by the way? Hope you're doing all right. Hey, if you didn't get a chance, check out the podcast from yesterday. I talk about some mental health stuff, things that I believe are fundamental to changing behavior. I don't know. I think the quality of it, from a technical standpoint, I think I definitely could have done better. I'm operating with bare minimum equipment over here. Not gonna lie. So I think from a technical aspect, it could have been a lot better. But I do think that the conversation of it was very good. So if you haven't checked that out, please go over there. It's titled My Purpose. Okay. You can find it on Spreaker.com. Look up the show Average Discussion, and you should be able to see the latest one. You can find it on other platforms too, but there's like a delay, right? So if you want the most up-to-date content, Spreaker is definitely the place to go. You can download an app from them. There's a whole bunch of podcasts on there you can find. But that's probably the best way to just get it. Then you can subscribe to the show or follow the show. It should let you know when I put out a new one. If you're interested in it, maybe you don't even like what I talk about. Maybe I'm just a big-headed a-hole. I don't know, right? But let's do me a favor. You can just help me out a little bit there. But yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, please go back and check it out. But The big push about it was, making sure you just take care of yourself. You know what I mean? And so I hope you're doing okay. I hope everything's going good in your life, or at least as best as it could. I mean, yeah, nobody likes going to work. Apparently, though, there was a generation that did like going to work, and I feel sorry for them because they were sold a pipe dream, and here we are. So let's see, what does CNN got? Oh, same thing. Pelosi ends historic run as Democratic leader. This move sets the stage for a major shakeup for House Democrats and marks the end of an era for a long presiding California Democrat. But she will remain a member of Congress, though. So that's cool. More politics bullshit. Let's see. Let's see what's happening across the U.S., shall we? Darrell Brooks received 6 consecutive life sentences, plus more than 700 additional years in prison for the Christmas parade attack. I don't know what that town's called, so I don't want to butcher it. Listen, whatever. What's with the absurdity of the years? Like, what are you going to do? When he dies, what, you're just going to leave his body in a cell? Just kill the fucking guy. Like, I don't understand that. 6 consecutive life sentences. Okay, so he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Plus more than 700 additional years. Just fucking kill the guy. Like, what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time? Doesn't make any sense. Like, the amount of resources needed to keep that guy alive, though they may not be, astronomical, right? But it's a waste. It's literally a waste. Just kill the guy. Brutally. I mean, if you're going to say that he did all these things, this brutal thing, then kill him brutally. Maybe that might send a message. Just a thought. Maybe that might send a message that, hey, don't do this shit, or it's going to be a painful death for you. Like, even if it takes like 4 days for him to actually die. You know what I mean? If you're saying that what he did constitutes this kind of a sentence, right? Then just handle it that way. I don't understand that. I don't understand this. Like, what sense of justice is that for people? Like, what do you get knowing that the person is in a cell? Like, what do you get out of that? Like, I understand when people are like, we need to find who did this, right? Or, hey, we need closure in this. We need to know that he's found guilty, right? I get all that. That part of it makes sense to me, right? But what doesn't make sense to me is this concept and idea that by saying he's got 6 life sentences and 700 extra years, somehow grants some kind of additional closure. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but if this was my family that was affected by what this guy did, I don't want him in prison. I want to cut him open and watch him bleed to death because he hurt my family. I don't need him in a cell where he can read and work out and find some kind of pleasure, right? Like, it might be minimal compared to what we're used to, right? But I don't need him finding any kind of pleasure in life. That's not going to bring me any closure. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucked up in the head like that, and maybe I'm the problem with humanity. I don't know. But that doesn't... 700 extra years. Like, he can't serve them. It's not possible. He will die. And it's not... Like, it's meaningless, is my point. It absolutely has no substance outside of just making a fucking news headline. Sorry. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that kind of stuff. It's the strangest thing. All right, so let's see. On the eastern part of the U.S., let's see what we got popping up here. Best thing in the world. 9-year-old boy reunited with loved ones. Let's check that one out. The family says 9-year-old Wendell boy got lost in the woods trying to skip school. Stay in school, kids. And play video games. Those pesky video games, man. They'll ruin you. They'll rot your fucking brain, man. They will rot your brain. Let's see. Bentley Stansel, 9, spent the night in an RV and even figured out how to feed himself after running away Tuesday morning in Wendell. Well, figured it out at 9. So all you kids out there, yeah, start pulling your weight, would you? The search for Bentley ended in happy tears just before noon on Wednesday. His father, Brandon Stansel, described the reunion with his son as the best thing in the world and on par with the moment the child was born. Tonight, Bentley is resting safe and sound inside his aunt's house with only a sprained ankle. According to his aunt and legal guardian, April, I can't say her last name, he ran away because he wanted to stay home and play video games instead of going to school that day. No one expected Xbox to be the reason he tried to skip out on school and not come home. Yes, you did. Stop lying. Listen, I got 3 kids. Okay? We've got a fucking Xbox One. There's an Xbox 360 somewhere down there still. We got PlayStation 4. Listen, if I don't force my children not to play that shit, they will spend their entire day there. And I don't think that any parent or legal guardian has not noticed the effect that has on these damn kids. Okay? And honestly, I think it's just easier on us to be like, yeah, go do it, because we don't want to deal with your shenanigans, right? And they end up entranced in it. This comment to me, it falls in line with the whole thing of like somebody is a murderer, right? And they're like, oh, we just never saw this happening. He was such a good kid. Yes, you did. There was a sign somewhere. Now, maybe you didn't think that what he was going to do was going to be as catastrophic as it was, but you saw something. Or you didn't see anything, and now you're just getting on TV for your 5 minutes of fame. That's what I think. That is what I think. Sorry, I had to take a drink there for a second. I was getting a little worked up, right? But, all right, so I did think that would be the reason he would want to skip out on school and not come home. I couldn't believe it really was the Xbox, because my mind was going a million places. Like, is there something at school? Maybe somebody is bullying him, and he just hadn't told us about it. So, a little bit of a side note here. I found this when I first got my... I'll get back to the article here about old Bentley and his Xbox, right? But when I first got this office, the way I had... This office, by office I mean fucking shipping container, right? But when I first got it, I had the desks lined up and with the wall of it. And what I found was that my techs would make it a point to come in here so they could see what I was doing. And I got really annoyed by this, because it's like, dude, your job's out there. Like, I need you to go fix this. I gotta reach out to these forklift people and figure out why they're not showing up here to fix our stuff, right? So I changed it, and so now, like, you can't see what I'm doing. You just got to come in, because I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing, right? But it's the curiosity in their mind. Well, it's cold, and I've been shutting the door. Well, now they're even more curious, and now they're doing workout in the shop area that they normally would do on site at the machine that they're working on, just because they want to know what's going on. It's pretty funny. It's like a social experiment I'm doing around here. It's pretty cool. Anyways, back to Bentley and his Xbox. So maybe somebody is bullying him and he just hadn't told us about it, was their thought. Bentley left for the school bus on Tuesday morning, but instead a neighbor saw him drop his backpack and run into the woods near his home. Bentley's aunt says his plan was to skip school and play video games all day. But he saw the neighbor and got scared, thinking he would get caught. He ran into the woods, but things took a scary turn when he got lost. The FBI, local law enforcement, and volunteers began the search, sparking an Amber Alert about 12 hours later. Sky 5 flew over and searched just before noon, and he was reunited with his mom and dad. He was found safe just about 2 miles away from home. His parents say Bentley took shelter from the frigid temperatures. These guys are crazy, I'm telling you. His parents say took shelter from the frigid temperatures overnight inside a camper where he was able to find food and even had a furry friend to keep him company. Sorry. One of these days I'll have a better recording area. Let's see. It had power. The camper had power and stayed warm. He had a cat. We might take him home. So this kid literally just went into somebody's home, I think. Because, that's kind of the thing. Like, people are, kind of doing this out of society living thing, right? So it sounds to me like he just went into somebody's home. Interesting. His parents say that they are extremely grateful for everyone willing to come out and help for the search of Bentley, and those who sent up prayers while he was missing. Oh, wow. I just can't believe he wanted to play video games instead of go to school. Yes, you could, Karen. Stop lying to yourself. I don't know. Interesting. That was on CNN, by the way. Interesting. Oh, now I done lost my place. So that was in the eastern part. Let's see. It says Central couple taking on the task of accepting letters to Santa this year. So heartwarming. Can you take on the sending of the gifts as well? Let's see. Parents of boy found dead, arrested. That's interesting. Quite. Parents of 7-year-old. Parents of a 7-year-old spring boy found dead in washing machine, arrested. Oh, the boy was okay. Man, see, I read that wrong. So the 7-year-old boy was found dead in a washing machine. And apparently, the parents were arrested. Wow, that's fucked up. The adoptive parents of a 7-year-old boy who was found dead in a washing machine in their spring home have been arrested. Jermaine Thomas, 42, Tiffany Thomas, 35, were arrested after Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences ruled that 7-year-old boy Troy Coiler's death a homicide. Wow. They've been charged with... Jermaine has been charged with capital murder, and Tiffany has been charged with injury to a child by omission, according to the sheriff. And July 28th, the kid was reported missing from his home before he was later found at the same home. Oh, wow. Troy was found in a top-load machine, a washing machine in the garage. Jermaine said he could not find the 7-year-old after returning home just before midnight the night before. Then that's when he said he noticed his front door was unlocked. It's just that I came home, I was fixing to walk in the door like right now. I don't have my keys, but I put my keys to the door handle and then it just opened. Anything else after that, I don't know. The adoptive parents were detained and questioned on the day his body was found, but they were later released. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that. I mean, I already kind of know where that's going to go. That kind of shit bothers me, man. Mainly the adoptive part. It bothers me in general, don't get me wrong, but man, like that's such a shitty thing, you know what I mean? Like you got this system that I think intentions are pure, but it definitely needs work, right? And you know, these kids, man, you know, that kid probably felt really grateful to be adopted, assuming it wasn't like some kind of like you're gonna go live with your aunt thing, right? You know, but assuming like he was probably hopeful that he was going to a better situation, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people will utilize those programs for financial gain. I mean, I think you've probably seen some movies like that, right? I fucking hate people, man. Like we do some messed up shit. Yeah, I don't know. That's fucked up, man. You know, kids are stressful. Don't get me wrong. Kids are fucking stressful. But they're never that stressful. You know what I'm saying? And if you're an adoptive parent, you actually have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, you chose to be a parent in that situation. Like, this was a process, right? You know, I think a lot of us, yeah, obviously we choose to be a parent in the sense that, like, we have sex, we have a kid, right? But, you know, I don't think that it's always like intended, right? Like, ah, shit, this happened and now I got to do it, right? But I think if you're an adoptive parent, that part of it's excluded. Like, this was purely a conscious choice and decision. So I think, I understand why people get frustrated, but if people who never planned on that can figure it out, those who planned on it should definitely be able to figure it out. And no kid's ever that stressful. I don't know. I think there's more to that story, but I honestly don't want to read it because those kinds of stories, they fuck me up. So anyways, I hope this is lunch break. I'm trying this new thing here. I really am. I hope you guys are okay with the kind of some of the background sounds that I can't really do away with at this moment. You're okay with kind of some of the, I gotta walk out because they're banging on a chain out there for some reason. All of a sudden they can't do it where they normally do. But but I hope you guys are okay with it. I hope you guys still enjoy the show, still enjoy the podcast. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do this video thing a lot more. I'm gonna get those uploaded into the YouTube channel. So if you want to put a face to this voice, to this shenanigans, you're probably better off listening to the audio because I don't think you want to look at my face. Okay, but if you do, if for whatever reason you do, on YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel, Average Discussion, and I'm going to start uploading these. I'm going to be better about that. I'm going to do some clips for advertising purposes to try to get more people involved. So you'll probably see some more of that on the Facebook page and the TikTok stuff, right? Instagram, things like that. So where can you reach me? Well, you can reach me directly at averagediscussion@gmail.com. Okay? It's all one word, averagediscussion@gmail.com. Goes straight to me in an email form, comes straight to my cell phone, just like a text message would, right? So that's probably the best, most effective way you can reach me. But, if that's not your thing, you can go over to facebook.com /average discussion. You can go to my Facebook page. I put content up there, updates, share some stuff here and there, thoughts and opinions. You can message me through that. You can find me on Instagram, Average Discussion, Twitter @AVG Discussion, and on TikTok, average_discussion. Okay, so you can find me all there. The show, the podcast itself, you can find on Spreaker.com, SPREAKER.com. Okay, look up the show, Average Discussion. Subscribe to it, download. Set your notifications for when I put out new stuff, whatever. It will upload these episodes to, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I'm not so sure about the Apple thing. I've been working with that, but I can't get into the system. It's kind of a big deal. I used to have no problem with it. I don't know what changed. Maybe it was because I took kind of a break in content for a while. Maybe it just dropped me. I don't really know what the case is there, but I haven't been able to get that figured out yet. And to be completely honest, I can't say that I've spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. But either way, that part of it's a work in progress. So the show will show up on like I said, like iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. There's probably some other places that I don't even know that it pops up on. So, but for the most up-to-date content, for the most up-to-date content, you're going to want to go to Spreaker, okay? And again, these videos of the podcast will be placed on YouTube. The channel will be Average Discussion, and I'll have all those links in there too, so that you can just go from that video if you prefer to just listen to it over looking at my ugly mug and my beautiful backdrop of my fluorescent vest and my steel container wall. So anyways, that's the lunch break, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I got to get back to work here, but hope you guys have a great day. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Try to be better people. Until next time, thanks for listening. I'm out.